I didn't tell you this, but I took the exam 5 times, and I'm surprised. I mean, I worked so hard, and I did it. You
Yeah.
know, but you just gotta. I had to focus. That's what I did completely. I can't say that enough. Like, there's nobody out there doing it like you.
Bonjour guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to interview Tony, who recently passed his FE exam, and he's going to share with us his FE experience and what he did to pass his FE. Tony, thank you so much for being here with us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you graduate?
So I graduated in 2008, and I graduated with a degree in civil engineering from the University of Texas at Arlington. Um, Shortly after graduation, I got a job as a civil engineer, working for a utility called CoServe. I worked there for 8 years, and I was also a reservist in my branch as engineers. And then within that time, I've been deployed a couple times, so I got some combat experience.
So do you feel like you had a lot of civil engineering experience, like in the field?
Uh, I don't think I have that much experience in civil engineering. I think my experience mostly is like utility engineering or mechanical, because we're dealing with a lot of mostly pressures and steel materials, mostly for like pipes, steel pipes, or like polyethylene pipes, and then dealing with pressures and understanding how compressed. Well, I mean, I think maybe the fluids part really helped me out to understand a little bit. I really like fluids. Maybe the compressibility of of a liquid and what it does to it. I think that might have been really helpful for me. Corrosion, that was also kind of helpful. But when you start talking about like soils and soil classifications, you know, I wasn't using that at my company.
Yeah. So why did you decide to take the FE?
Because I want to become a geotechnical engineer. That's my goal. And so I was telling you earlier that I'm getting my master's degree in geotechnical from the University of Oklahoma. And so I started my master's, but I kind of put that on pause till I passed my FE, because I think that for the PE, understanding deeper, having a deeper knowledge of soils will be helpful when I take the PE, and I can get that from the master's program. But yeah, ultimately to be a geotechnical engineer and get my license. I mean, that's my main goal.
Awesome. So you are going to take PE geotechnical. Is that what you're gonna? Okay. And you also mentioned, because we started this interview and I wasn't recording and we have to redo it, but previously in the beginning, you mentioned that you wanted to get a job in the civil engineering field, but a lot of them require the FE. And you did have some offers, but you didn't want to take them, right? Why is that?
Because basically it was just going to be a lot of pressure, just a lot of pressure. They wanted me to get my license within 6 months, or a year, pass the FE within a certain time frame. It was a year that they had put, and then to do that and then start a new job and relocate to a new city, new people. I mean, it was just going to be really tough. I think it was honestly, I think it was going to be almost impossible. Not, it's just too much, you know.
Yeah.
I was going to put a lot of pressure on myself, and I think that would have been really, really, really hard.
Yeah, and it's a really good point, because I have a couple students who are actually taking the FE, and their job requires them to take it within like certain time, like either a year or 2 years. Some of them got extended because of COVID, but still that is a lot of pressure. And like you said, getting to a new job and like new people, new environments, a lot of pressure trying to pass the FE. And if you take it and you fail, what do you do then? you're gonna have this awkward conversation with this new boss, right? So it's just like it does add a lot of pressure. And also now that you took your FE, you have more opportunities to, and you have more like options to see what job you want, instead of trying to take just the jobs that are offering you but you have to take to pass the FE within a certain time. Now you don't have those options anymore, but you have multiple options of where you want to work. So that's also a good thing.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I just took some time off, when I got back from my deployment, to really use the time. It was like basically like 8 to 5. I would wake up in the mornings and then just do your course and then take a lunch break and then come back. I was using that, for, a month, 2 months straight, and I was ready to go. I mean, I was using it like a job.
Wow. So you weren't working during this time. You also paused your master's and you just focus on the FE. And I
Yep.
actually really like that. I always recommend my students like to focus on one thing at a time. When you have so much you want to accomplish in your to-do list and you're trying to do all of them at once, you're not going to get a great focus and you're not going to like be good at every single thing that you're doing. You're going to do C or B on each one of the tasks. So narrowing it down and just having one goal and trying to accomplish that, I think that can be very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I just have so much stuff going on, whether it be my day job, then I have a small business, then I'm doing the Army reserves on my weekends, and then you got to have time to work out and for yourself somewhere. And so what I did was I just focused on me for some time, 2, 3 months, and I just focused on this and working out and being healthy, and it worked. you know so now I can move on to my next step, which would be the PE.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, you have such a great discipline, and I love the workout aspect. I mean, that is just very important, especially like if you're studying every day, you're gonna need to do some sort of exercising to help you stay motivated and to keep going. And also, like exercising really helps you process the information like faster and better too.
Right. Well, because I remember when I was studying for the exam, I didn't tell you this, but I took the exam 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, the first 3 times that I took it, I took the other disciplines.
Oh, okay.
And so I took the other disciplines and I didn't do so well, because I had stuff like electrical and biology and chemistry. Just like complete turn for me. Like and I just went down a different path, and I was like, man, this is crazy. But then I took the FE Civil, and I did okay. And then took your course, and then honestly, but what I was going to say about that was that I did the other disciplines exam. Obviously, took it 3 times while I was working, while I was doing the reserves. I just had so much going on in my life, and I was just too busy. I couldn't focus on one thing, partly because I was so tired after work. You gotta work, then you gotta go study, and then on the weekends you want to study, but I mean, you want to relax a little bit. It was just tough. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, things are tough, right? Some people won't be able to do what I did, but if you can just start narrowing down to what's important to you and really focus on that exam, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. I think, like managing work and passing the FE, a lot of people can do that. I think the problem, it starts to be a problem when you have way too much. When you have, so I have a student who's working full time. She's trying to pass her FE. She's also having a small business she's working on. She's also helping her daughter, and she also has to spend time with her family. And And he's just like, and then she's also very active in the church. And when she was telling me, I'm like, is this list gonna stop at any point right now? Like, because it's way too much for any person to be able to do all of this, right? And so like, you like, if you just work and you try to pass your FE, that is completely possible. I mean, I have a lot of students who did that. And but if you have so many other activities that you're trying to do, that just becomes like very overwhelming and very hard to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would just look at it like if you're trying to, build a house or build a castle. I mean, like, how long is it going to take to build it? I mean, you can build it. It can take 2 years, or it can take, 4 months. But it just depends on you, like how much time and effort you want to put into it. And I was committed to this. I cleared my schedule. I focused. I told everybody, like, don't come to my house. I'm going to be studying. I kind of went off the map for a little bit, but I needed to get off the map and be by myself and really focus on this. And I'm surprised. I mean, I worked so hard, and I did it.
Yeah.
But you just gotta. I had to focus. That's what I did, completely.
And that's the thing, like the focus. I really like that, and so like I mentioned right earlier, like I'm working on the afternoon course right now, and when I start creating problems, I am focused. Like my team can reach me, they won't be able to reach me. I don't check my emails, I am not on Instagram, my phone is very far from me, my mom knows to not call me, and my husband knows not to interrupt me. Like, like it's very, like I have like deep work. I get into my office 7 a.m. and I just straight up all the way to like 8 p.m. whenever, and I'm just creating problems. And if at any point I get pulled, that's it. My focus is gone, because it is such a hard thing to do. It's very challenging. And so when you get interrupted, it's really hard to train your brain. It's not impossible. Sometimes I have to, but it really takes a lot of energy for me to get back to where I was. And I think it's because I posted this last time on Instagram that I was talking about focus. And because the first day when I started working on the afternoon, I couldn't sit for like even 6 hours. I could not sit for 6 hours straight. I was all over the place. I kept wanting to check my phone. I kept wanting to go and interrupt my husband this time. And I was just like all over the place. And you know what I did? I kept struggling to it. I kept coming back to my office, and I'm like, let's do 1 more hour. Let's do 30 minutes more. And struggling to the focus helped me the next day to be better. And in the following day to have more hours and more focus. And it's like, with focus, it's like training, right? If you want to gain muscles, you're not going to go to the gym and weight lift 50 pounds on your first day. You're going to work towards that, right? You're going to start with 5 and then increase it to 10 and so on. But if you stop at any point and a week later, if you go back to the gym again, you're going to have to go, you're not going to start from the beginning, but you can't start where you left off either. So right. That's exactly how our mind works. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's really about training your mind, how long it can stay focused and getting through those challenges.
And I did, you say that, 2 things that you say about that. First of all, so I took 2 practice exams before I took my FE. So I stayed at home for 6 hours. I got up in the morning, I did my morning routine, and then I just came to my office and I just did the exam. I put a little timer, and then I took a 30-minute break and then I did the rest of the questions. So I broke it down in half. So I did 2 mock exams before I took my FE. And on the first one, I made a lot of like simple errors. And on the second one, so the first one taught me like the small things that I need to work on, like the small things I was making mistakes on. And when I took the second one, I made less mistakes, but I was still making mistakes because my mind was tired. I just wanted to get through it. So I was able to get sharper. After those 2 exams, I was sharper. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I knew the material better because now I was going back and I was kind of using the same situation to learn the material, preparing for what could be happening on the exam. So that really made a change for me. I was so focused because I knew what I was making mistakes on, and I knew what to correct. And I still got that stuff memorized in my brain now. It's not going away.
Yeah.
But I needed those scenarios because you train at the same in the army. They say train as you fight. Well, that's the same thing I was doing. I was training for that exam the same way that it was going to go down. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like practice exams are very important because, you know, so especially when you mimic the exam environment, because you're going to be in that situation in a couple weeks from now, and putting your body into that experience before it happens, it's almost like you're telling your brain, hey, like we got to get ready for this, right? This is not the real thing, but in a couple weeks it's going to be the real thing. And it's like, it's very interesting, like the whole experience, how it goes. And then at the end of it, like you said, on the next practice exam that you took, you were more sharp, more focused. You knew the mistakes that you did. And in the exam, you were even more focused and more sharp. So it's like, it's very powerful. Like it really trains your body. It really prepares you mentally for the exam. I remember when I took my first, I actually didn't want to take any practice exams. And at the time, my husband was telling me, like, you have to take at least one practice exam. Like you gotta, like, feel the experience. You cannot go in there, because that is pretty much the best way to get ready for this test. And he really was pushing me. And then, like a couple of days before, I was like, okay, fine, let's take this practice exam. And then I remember, like, I was so nervous. And this was just a practice exam. I was nervous. I was sweating. I was like, my heart was racing. And at the end, I was like, because I get so nervous, like around tests and stuff. And at the end, I'm like, I'm so glad I went to this, because now during the exam, I'm going to be less nervous, And then actually the next day I took another practice exam. I literally took practice exam every day till the day before my exam. The day before my exam, I didn't do anything. I just chilled. But, the day before that, I did took a lot of practice exams, because it really got me comfortable, and because I used to have test anxiety. So that's how I managed it, by taking a lot of practice exams.
Yeah. I that was probably the best thing that I did aside from your course. And I'll just say, like, your course, I've taken other courses too. I got another course from somebody else, and your course is by far the best prepared one out of all of them.
Thank you.
It's short and sweet, to the point, and then you're on to the next problem. And then so that was great. You were prepared, because you go on YouTube and you go on other channels, and it's just like, oh, sorry, I don't have the solution to this, and oh, excuse me, I don't know, I just have to go off the top of my head. And you're just like, you're kind of wasting your time, because somebody didn't put the effort that you're putting in. So your effort matches, I'm hoping it matches the student's effort, and I'm sure most students will. But your effort is like up here compared to all the other courses that are available. Nothing has beat your course so far. Nothing. And no, really, and then your level of customer service, that's amazing. Nobody's doing it like you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. It really makes me, like, thank you for the feedback. Like, it's great. And it's just great to know, that, like, a lot of students, it's helping a lot of students, pass their FE. And, I love how you said, like, the effort that I put in, I did put a lot of effort in it, but, like, and then having students putting the same kind of effort, that just really makes me happy to hear that. Right. And you're right. Like, you could put that effort somewhere else, looking for videos on YouTube or looking for materials, and, and at the end, you might not be ready, you might be ready. But, like, but if you get something that's exactly is going to give you what you need, that your effort will match the course efforts. And that's what you pretty much need.
Yeah. And I think that another thing so, like, everybody wants to have like a guaranteed success, right? And there is no other course out there. I've taken all the other courses, PPI, you name them, guaranteed that you're going to pass, and all these courses. But none of them can get you through the beginning to the end. Obviously, your course is not finished yet. I can't wait to see it finished. I think there was only 6 sections that were missing at the time that I took your course, which is just recently. That was like 2 weeks ago. So I don't know what's been changed. I have to go back and look. But no, I mean, just the expectation that if you follow the course from the start to the beginning and you really put the effort in, that you're going to be in a great place. And if you take those practice exams, which I bought, what you suggested, there's 2 practice exams in here. I took those. Between that and this and just, being focused, I made it. And that was the key to my success.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else out there that's helping students like this. And I've taken even like the university prep courses. I remember I took the CDs and I never returned them. They kept calling me. And but they weren't like this. It's just, you're going through every single. I could go back and reference a video or a problem. Nobody else is doing like that.
Yeah.
The other course that I bought, I think it was only a month or 2 months, and then you have to make you then you get locked out. Yeah. I mean, it's the best. It's the best.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. You did mention a couple things, so I actually want to go back to the other disciplines and then also the civil. So first of all, like you mentioned, like other disciplines was very different from the civil, and there are a lot of topics that you didn't take in engineering, so it didn't make sense to you to take other disciplines. So my question is, why did you take other disciplines for the first place? Why didn't you take civil? And when did you take those 3 exams?
I took those. So the reason I didn't take the civil was because when I went through to one of the courses that I purchased, they didn't have a specific civil exam prep. It was just a other disciplines exam prep. So I went with that one. And I figured they guaranteed that you're going to pass or your money back. Obviously, you and I know that's not true, But I didn't even like ask them for the money back. I didn't do that. But yeah, so I did that. Took it 3 times and passed. And so I took some time off from trying to pass the exam. Obviously, I had some career changes. I went away for the military service. Then I came back and I started just focusing on civil because that's what I know. But yeah. And what was the other question?
So when did you take them?
Oh, I took them in 2016 through, I think I took it 16, 17, and then 16 through 17, I took it 3 times. Okay. So in 2 years, I took it 3 times, yeah.
Wow. So you took it recent. Okay. I thought like it was around when you graduated.
No.
Okay. And when did you take the first FE Civil?
I took it on, it was in March of 2019.
2019. Okay. So that was like almost a year and a half ago. And yeah. So now you recently passed your FE, which was 2 weeks ago. And right. So for this exam, how many months before the FE did you begin studying?
So I started studying in like September, early September.
Okay. So that's like what, 3 months?
Yeah, September, October, November. Yeah, about 3 months.
3 months, okay. And so you said you were studying every day from like 8 to 5. Did you do the same thing during the weekend, or did you take time off?
I took the weekends off.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still trying to find my balance, Okay. Some days were better than others until I started finding just kind of like my rhythm. Usually was like 8 to 12, then take a lunch, and then come back, start from like 2 to like 4 or 5, and then go work out and come home, relax, and then the next day start again.
Okay. So you worked out after you were done with your studying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually worked out after.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, so did you do anything to recharge, like during the weekend? Did you take a break?
Of course, yeah. I mean, aside, I do a little bit of meditation in the morning, and then working out. I think it's just in the afternoons was the best. I work out about an hour a day for 6 days a week, and then I take off 1 day a week, complete rest. So yeah, so Sundays are complete rest. Don't do
Yeah,
anything but just relax.
that's great. Yeah. And I
Unless I,
think,
and I do have a small business, so I do my small business stuff.
mm, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
To like unwind and stuff, and just kind of you being productive, but like, different. You're trying to rest your, the brain from studying and just doing something a little bit different.
yeah,
That's great. I really like your schedule, and I really like how you meditate. I actually started meditating. I find it like, at first I couldn't find it, like it wasn't efficient. Like at first I was like very anxious because like I'm such like, I have a lot of energy, and
hmm,
just me sitting there and just like completely, just being aware of my thoughts and like just being silence, for like 20-30 minutes. It was challenging. I started with 5 minutes and then I pushed it to 10 and 15. Again, it's all about training, and now I'm like 30 minutes. um, and I think it really helps a lot. And I also feel like exercising can also be a form of meditation, because meditation is just about like, like processing your thoughts and your emotions, and just like, and also like pretty much like not thinking about anything, right? And so I feel like when I work out, like it gives me such like great energy, and I feel so recharged afterwards, and I like how, because I asked you how do you recharge, and you said exercising. Some people might, find it like, oh, I have to exercise, it's like a chore. But exercising can be like much more than that. It can really help you recharge and just like give you so much energy, and like help you process information better as well.
yeah.
So
When I'm exercising, I'm thinking of things that I want to improve in my life, especially the exam. Just kind of saying like positive things like you can do this, and like that's important. You got to be your best cheerleader.
yeah, that's true. Because it's like, when you work at a company, you have a boss that, cheers you up, or just, they don't really cheer you up. But, if you do something good, they might be like, hey, good job, or, well done. Or if you go to school, you get an A. With the FE exam, you have to study for 3 months. So you only have you. So you got to be like making sure that you are proud of yourself, and, you keep pushing yourself. Um, and we actually, so what we recently did, we created study groups for our students, because we felt like, having that kind of support can help a lot. And so we recently, I think we created it, well, we started creating it while you were studying for EFE. And then when you passed, we initially put the students together, so you missed to join the groups. You can always join. It's you're always a student, so you can always feel free to join. But like yesterday, I was unwinding after a long day of filming, and then I saw students just like, going, you got this, like keep going, and just like pushing each other. And I thought that was amazing. And I just jumped in and I was like, hey guys, it just, I'm working here too, just, you got this, just keep going. And just kind of having that support, it can really be very helpful, especially like on a Friday night, that was like 8 p.m. and people were studying, having that kind of like, cheering each other up. I think that's really like powerful and can help
Yeah,
a lot.
that's what like I really enjoy talking to you over email or social media. Like even that little bit of support helped me a lot because really it was just me out here. It was just I was alone, except with the messages that I shared with you of support. But yeah, nobody. You don't have a cheer team in
Yeah.
college. You have like a couple friends that you can go study with or a coffee group or whatever. Where you can go ask them questions like, hey, what are you doing about this? And maybe they might be able to figure out. But when you're studying by yourself, it's just you. So yeah, I think those study groups
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So hopefully, they can help a lot of students, just kind of help each other. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the materials. So you said that you took, so when you were studying, because I know you took the FE Civil in 2019, and then you recently took it, which is actually really interesting because the 2019 you took the old FE exam, and then you started studying on September. So you started preparing right away for the new FE exam.
Right.
There's a change there, but I feel like I still believe that there isn't really a lot of changes from the previous one. Maybe it's getting harder, but I think we knew that throughout the whole 2020 or like the late of 2019, the FE exam started to get a little more challenging and harder. And I think just focusing on preparation is really important, more important than trying to figure out, like how the exam is going to be, or is it harder or easier? But so for 2020, what material did you use? Did you use just my courses? What do you use to study for the afternoon?
I used I used your materials because you had if I remember correctly, you had like 11 out of the 16 subjects,
Something
right?
like
Yeah. So there's I haven't written down.
okay.
But so for the other subjects that weren't available, like geotech, structures, surveying, construction management, what else? Environmental. See, I know these off the top of my head. For those courses, I had to get another course, and I actually purchased the Civil Engineering Academy. I don't know if I'm able to say that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was like around, I can't remember now. I think it was for $400 and something that I purchased additionally. Because you came out with like a addendum or some kind of an attachment that you had on your links
Mm-hmm.
to the videos of other professors that were teaching the ones that you hadn't gone to yet. And I think that's why I'm not gonna question those videos. Some of them were okay, and some of them were not the quality that you're producing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the instructors just weren't ready to provide material to the students. Um, but yeah, so I did go out and I purchased other materials, and I found it very, very tough to get what I needed out of the other courses that I bought, like the Civil Engineering Academy. They were just their solutions were not very good. I couldn't understand them. There was some of the stuff that we're doing that weren't detailed enough. The processes weren't clear why they were doing some things, which you break down in a lot of your videos. Do this first, like in fluids, is a laminar or turbulent? You know?
Yeah.
So like they don't do that with the afternoon session stuff. So yeah, it was hard. So I compiled kind of like my own, you know, from YouTube and from Civil Engineering Academy and whatever you have provided for us to dig into, and I kind of put that together. Surveying is tough. Surveying is one of the tougher ones. I would look at my sheet from the previous exam that I'd taken. It's like surveying was like, 6. I scored 6. I'm like, oh man, this is not good. Geotech, obviously, I did good, and I had materials from your YouTube and from the course that I took. Yeah, construction management, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till you come out with yours. The other students are going to be way prepared.
Yeah.
So I was questioning that. I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. And so, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited about the afternoon. So I started, I think I mentioned this before, I started working on it like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it's very, very good problems. Like I'm really excited. Some really challenging problems because the afternoon is more challenging than the morning. So it's going to be really exciting.
I'm excited too. Can't wait.
That's great. Awesome. Okay. And so tell us a little bit about the rescheduling. I think you mentioned this before and you also told me that you rescheduled your FE twice.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to reschedule it?
Well, I rescheduled it 3 times.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so when I before before I got your course, I had scheduled the exam to take it, and my train of thought was like, I guess just throw money at it, you know. Like if I take it, I'll have an idea what I'll take it. I'll go in there and I'll try to remember what the questions were, so I can come back and try to find materials that match that. I don't know. I don't know if that's the greatest solution.
Very interesting process. Go on.
You know, I don't know. Kind of like one of those show yourself to the enemy and see what they're gonna do. Yeah, but I was a dummy, so I was willing to do that. Go out and take and fail, and come back and regroup. You know.
Okay.
But then then I found your course. So I was like, okay, like there's really a plan here. There's like A through, I have all these subjects I can go through. And I really started getting into your material, and I was like, man, you're not ready, you know. So I rescheduled it. I pushed it back a month. So instead of it being in September, I scheduled it to October. And then, yeah, I think I scheduled it 2 weeks. So yeah, so it was only like I pushed it back 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I pushed it back another 2 weeks. But so the more I got through your materials, the more I was like, look, you're not ready. Keep pushing it back. Keep pushing it back. And that was the key. I mean, just you had a plan. I mean, that's the part of it. You had the materials. Whereas most students out there, they don't have the materials.
Yeah.
That's like the hardest thing. Getting all the stuff that could potentially be on the exam. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say that enough. Like, there's nobody out there doing it like you.
Thank you, Tony. And so you brought up like really good points. So the first point is like, first you didn't, when you enrolled in the course, you're like, oh, I am not ready, I'm gonna reschedule 2 weeks. But then the more you dived in, the more you figured out like you were not ready for this. And I actually had a student she was in the same situation as you. She scheduled her exam like 5 times, and she was like, I'm just not ready, I'm sorry, but I'm not ready, there's a lot going on. Like, she would think like, hey, mechanics of materials, I'm good, I'm gonna just review it. She gets into mechanics of materials, she goes like, whoa, I'm not ready, I'm gonna postpone more. And so she just kept, each time she kept rescheduling. And I think that's fine. Like, if you feel like you're not ready, because you have to go into that exam thinking like just like we talked about earlier, you have to be like, I did the best I could, I am ready for this exam. But if you go like, I'm just gonna go and see how it goes, like you had in mind, and then just like, you're not going to do well, And some people go, what if I get lucky? And then, and if that works, great. But then if you don't pass and you come back, you have to have a plan. And Fred had similar situation as well. Like he was studying for 3 months. He purchased a different course, and he was like, I'm ready. And then COVID hit, so his exam got rescheduled. And then I was posting the interview, and then he was like, you know what? Let me enroll in this course. He enrolled, and he was like, Kenza, I am not ready. I'm pushing my exam 3 months later, and he passed. So it's like, it's really interesting, because before you enroll in the course, a lot of students, they feel like they're in a good place. When they enroll in the course, they're at a different world. They're like, whoa, there's like all of this. And the best part about it, like you said, it's organized. It's there for you to just start and diving in. You don't need to look up YouTube. You don't need to look up Google. We're here to help you. We're here to answer emails, right? Like questions, all the questions you had, we would answer them. There's now the study groups, the support. Like, I'm really trying to create a program that, like, you come in, you learn the material, you have the right support, you go in, you pass. That's what I wanted, because we already went through college. Like, I don't want students to be in this course for like 2 years trying to pass the FE. Like, we've already went to college for 4 years. And I actually started with this because I had a friend, well, when I was studying for the FE, I felt like my notes were everywhere. So I was using Linder book a little bit, but I also had all my notes from college, and I had all of those notes open. And I was just going to the reference manual, specifications, and it was just like, things were like everywhere, right? And I just wanted something like organized, something like you go in, you learn, you get out, you pass, right? It's that simple.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I don't know why they're not, courses out there like that, where they just give you exactly like, here's the information you need, learn the concepts, like at least just provide like engineering 101, just like go over the basics of engineering.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. I mean, like, even with like the subject of like structures, like I bought a book online and I couldn't find the solutions for the book. You have to be some professor to find the solutions for the examples. And so I am trying to, go through the web trying to find solutions, and I found some solutions. I was like, why is it so hard, to find good materials and basics? Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like maybe they're trying to hide the knowledge. And somebody like you comes along and is like, look, it's ready for you. It's here's in a beautiful little package, and they open it up. Like, wow, this is crazy. I bought it, and I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Because there's, like I said, there's nobody packaging it like you are.
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought of it.
Yeah.
But you have like the ability. I think you've been with so many students and helped them so much. I obviously was not like the person that everybody came through to answer their questions. Because I probably wasn't the best. I was never like an A engineering student. I was probably like a B or a C. And it's just because I liked certain subjects and I didn't like others. I didn't like environmental, so I was not doing good at it. But I like geotech, you know. And I found it that maybe I found that the subject geotech had more materials and I could have more practice. Other subjects like environmental, there just wasn't enough material for me to really grab a hold, you know. Maybe I'm more of a over the time and like I have to build my confidence. And I just didn't find that with I could find that with like some math materials, structures and some statics, some dynamics. I was able to get enough practice to build that love for it. But then there's some materials there's just not enough. You just like you did 5 problems, now you're ready to take the exam. I'm like, no, I mean like I really needed to know where this or where that came from, like, you know, and most textbooks just weren't, and the professors weren't, maybe they just weren't teaching it right. But you take the time to explain why it's like that, or why it's important to keep your, your units, and carry them over, and keep track of whether it's, metric or, and I mean, all that makes sense. It's just basic stuff, but most people aren't doing it when they do problems.
Yeah. Yeah, you again, you really bringing up a lot of points. So when I was in college, I actually had a professor, and he pretty much like changed my whole like perspective in terms of school. So like I started questioning then, why am I going to school? Do I want to learn this material just to get an A, or do I want to learn it for myself? And actually I did struggle to school. The first couple years, when I came to the state to go to college here, well, I went to so many majors before I ended up in civil engineering. And when I did, by the time I got to civil engineering, I got this professor in my first year of engineering school, and that's when I started questioning, like, do I want to learn this material just to get an A, or do I actually want to learn it for myself? And that's when everything changed, because like I stopped focusing on the grades. And when I was so focused on the grades before then, I wasn't getting the grades that I wanted, because I was so focused on it instead of trying to focus on the material. I was just like, I just want to get an A. I just want to get an A. Was I doing the efforts to get an A? No. But at the didn't even wishing to get an A, you know? And so like, and when it started to be like about more about like, I actually want to learn this material because I'm interested. I don't care about the A. I don't care about the grade because the grade doesn't really tell you anything about yourself. Like you can have a student who got an A in the class, and I've, you know, we've had a couple of classmates where, you know, he got an A in the class, and I know that student, like he didn't grasp that much of material, right? That A doesn't really represent much, but it's all at the end of the day, it really matters about like what did you learn. And I hope, you know, students from universities, if they listen to this interview, this is actually like a really good point you brought up, because, you know, like if you start learning for yourself from college, you're gonna less struggle with the FE and the PE and just your career in general, because you're always gonna be like the student. You have to be always a student in life, you know, whether you're in your college or you're in your career, you always have to be willing to learn and keep moving forward. And another thing you mentioned is practice. I used to like take like my statics book, and every single problem at the end of that chapter, I'm doing it. Like, and I struggle through the problems, and I go like, okay, this problem is different from this one. Why is that? Because that's how I learned. Like you could lecture on concepts all day long, and I can't follow you. I'm not listening. I'm not processing anything. I gotta do problems. I have to do them myself. I have to do so many of them before I understand them. And I'm actually a slow learner. And I think that's why when I go to the courses and I'm explaining the problems, because I know what it's like to be a slow learner. I know what it's like to you know, have a professor who's assuming that you know all this stuff behind this problem, you know, and it's annoying because you sit there frustrated. Where do you get that variable? Where do you get that equation? You know, and they just assume that you know all this stuff. And I try to break it as much as possible so that you guys don't have to go through that. And I think that's why, like, I'm just pretty much just figuring it out right now as we're talking.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because that one variable will throw you off. Like, oh my God, there goes all your concentration. Like,
Yeah, right? Yeah.
like where's that?
Yeah. And yeah, so, and then you have, you know, the other courses who do the same thing, or, you know, they cover hard problems, they don't cover the basics. And really for the FE exam, you need to start with the foundation. You need to start with the concepts and the basics of engineering. Yeah.
And I felt like my exam was that, all, you know, basics and found, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically all the basics you went through, I think really helped, you know. I know that some of those problems were like, there was some problems in there that were like, were stomping problems. Like they wanted you to stop and work them out. But if I knew that I didn't know that problem like right away, or like within the next couple minutes, I skipped it and I just went to the next.
Tell us a little bit about the day of your FE exam, or actually let's start with the day before the FE. How were you feeling?
So it was the day that I took the FE was a Tuesday. So the day before, it was a Monday. I was at normal, just relaxing. I didn't do much thinking about the exam. I just kind of relaxed a little bit. I think I texted you. I think we talked a couple of days before, and I told you I was a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just kind of felt like I did so much work before. I was like, okay, let's see what you got. You know, I was kind of I was kind of primed up. Inside of me, I was just like, all right, let's get in there and do it. That was kind of my mentality. I was like, I was ready. I felt like, okay, I felt like a race car. Like I was ready to go. You know, I was like, put me in the starting line. I was ready to go and do some problems.
Awesome. Okay, now the day of the exam, how are you feeling?
I was feeling good. I woke up in the morning, did my morning routine, you know, um, drank some coffee, got to the exam early. I got my snack in the truck, and yeah, I drove up to the the exam center. I've been there several times before, 5 times already, so I knew where it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I showed up, and it was a long line, and I was ready. I was just like, all right. I was I kind of had like a smile on my face. I kind of knew I was gonna be okay. I was just ready to test myself. No really pressure. Like I was like, all right. By that time, I was like, let's see what you learned. I know you. I was kind of ready to test myself. I was expecting to come back from. I was expecting to get the results later on, and I wanted to see where I really was. Like I was at peace with myself. I was like, just go get it. Just go do it. It's just you and this exam. Nobody else. Nobody else knew because I didn't tell my family anything. I think in one of your videos, you spoke to one of the girls, and there was a lot of pressure when you tell people you're gonna take the exam. And I don't know if that builds on you. Like I don't know if it's negative, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell anybody. So
Yeah, I think it does a little bit because then, now when you fail, it's not just about you processing that emotion, but it's about all the people around you that you have to tell them that you failed.
yeah,
So I think it does affect you a little bit. But there's some people who, it helps them to keep going. Like Juanica, she told her mom because she was pushing her, and she was like almost like trying to making sure like she's studying, and she was supporting her. But sometimes if you are disciplined and you know what you gotta do, maybe avoiding telling people might actually help.
yeah. I think that uh, people around me, like the ones that I told previously, like before when I took my exam, you know, I don't think they weren't gonna like feel bad for me or anything that I failed if I did fail, but it was just having to tell them like I didn't pass again. Believe it or not, that's gonna has an effect on other people. Like, oh, I'm sorry you didn't pass this time. Did you study hard? They question you. Like, what do you think you need to work on? It's like, well, I don't know, but this time I just didn't tell anybody, and I was upfront about it. It's like, what are you? They would ask me, what are you up to? Oh, I'm studying for an exam. They're like, really? When are you taking it? So, well, I spoke to a lot of people, and I really hadn't spoke to a lot of people, but just listening to your videos, I said, well, spoke to a lot of people, and they just told me it's best not to tell anybody when you take it because you put an unnecessary pressure on yourself, and
Yeah.
so I'll take it. I just don't know when yet. That's what
Yeah.
just take it whenever you're ready, not you know because somebody else tells you or just whenever you decide to take it, just get out, take that day off, and go and do it. And then you fail, just you, the one that knows. And if you pass, tell the world.
I love that. That's a
Yeah.
really good one. That's awesome. Okay. Now, during the exam, did you track your time?
I did. Yes, I did. I wanted to keep the morning session at about 2.5 hours, and then I because it was like 5 hours 30 minutes. So I took it like a 30-minute 25-minute break, which I went over by 2 minutes. I didn't notice. I had my clock. Something was wrong. I,
Oh,
I don't know what happened, but I was over by 2 minutes, which is nothing happens. Um, and then I came back and I did the afternoon portion, but I was calm. I was fine. I was completely different than before. I was not stressed out. Like you didn't see stress in my face. I wasn't like I was just like I said. I was like a race car. Just I wanted to see the results. I wanted to see like all the effort that I had put in. I was ready to see progress, even if it was a little bit. I just wanted to see like you did good in statics. You need to work on. I knew some things I had to work on, like maybe surveying or construction management. I think maybe those are the ones. But I wanted to see results, and I wanted to see them. You know, all my hard effort. I was ready to see that.
yeah. That's great. So you went in with the mindset like as this is a practice for you, not like like it was a practice exam, and if you pass, great. If you didn't pass, you're gonna take it, learn from it, see where you're at, and I think that's really like life in general, right? You like whenever if you right now you have a business, right? You work on a business, and it's like there are little failures before you succeed, and that's just life, right? And those failures are they're like just practice, and they're preparing you for the real thing, and then for the success. It just failure just part of succeeding. You can't succeed without failing. You can't. You have to. Sometimes you have to fail before you succeed. And if you don't fail the FE exam the first time, let's say you pass it the first time, you've probably failed, the practice exam or something, or you weren't good in the beginning when you started studying for the FE. But failure is just part of the journey.
Exactly. Like, I didn't have a real number of how many times I was willing to fail. I mean, didn't test it, but if I failed, I was going again, you know, and I don't know, maybe again. I don't know. I was just not going to give up.
Yeah.
And I mean, the universe knew I was not going to give up on this. That's what I knew. I was ready, and nothing was going to stop me. And I came into that fight with a smile on my face, like, like I'm ready. Whatever comes my way is coming, and that's okay. Because I was committed inside. I'm still committed to doing the best that I can. Learning the material, and I think that was to change. You know, and yeah, I mean, failure was it's not going to hurt my armor at all. I'm just going to let it bing fly off. I mean, you got to be ready for it. How many times have you failed before you succeed? I mean, you ask a lot of people that are successful, like you said, you can't fail. You can't be successful without failure.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. It's just part of the journey. I've had actually a student who failed his FE 9 times. I think that's the most we have right now. And he recently passed his FE, and I was just like super proud of him. Just like to keep going, to keep not giving up till he passed his FE. I think that's really amazing. That shows like this guy's like he's never gonna give up on anything, because if he wants something, he's gonna go for it no matter how many times he fails. And I think that's really cool.
I think that's the difference completely.
Yeah.
Like I know people, that are probably better at certain things, but than me, but they didn't keep trying, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's just the story of like all the successful people. You know what I mean? If you want to succeed at something, you just can't give up the first time you fail, or the 50th time. You know, you just got to decide what your mental state's going to be, what you want to do, and just don't. I mean, like I said, I was going to pass this exam, and I still can't believe I'm still here, and I was expecting to be like less weight, I was expecting to be like a chicken that lost its feather, a rooster that lost its feathers, like I was expecting to be in a different state, like I was expecting it to be, but I'm great, I'm fine, I'm 100%. I feel good. I passed. you
That's great. That's funny. Okay, now how many questions did you have to guess?
I think I guessed probably like around. I think probably like around. I'd say easily about 20.
20?
20. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's because I had left. I had when I went through my pass. Uh, each time I had about 20 on each exam, and out of those 20 on the morning and the afternoon, and out of those 20, I was able to spend more time on those, and I got about 10 on each that I was able to work out, because those are, I think that's what catches more people. They spend a lot of time on the ones that take a lot of time. And so, and then I kind of went through those 20, right? And then I said, okay, I know how to do these, so I went through the ones that I knew how to do. and then I had about 10 or so, a little bit more that I'd had to guess, but they were like educated guesses. Try to be more educated. Some of them were like, obviously, I was like, okay, A or B? Okay, C. It's not, I mean, you just have to guess. So about 10, oh yeah, I said about 10 each, so total of 20.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Now, when you finished the exam, were you feeling confident?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was like, I felt just like I feel now. I'm like, I felt fine. I felt like I did the best that I could. I put my effort, the best effort that I could, and I was excited to see the results. And I was ready to get back to the drawing board and keep going. I was gonna say I'm gonna take probably a couple days break and go back and keep going. Find out where I made the mistakes and just. My goal was to get my goal in this exam was to get 100, not just a 50 or I didn't know what the scale was, but I wanted to get like every single exam question right. That was my goal. Obviously they don't show you the results, but I mean I haven't seen my passing results. I went in there and clicked. I don't think they show you the results for passing, do they? I don't think they do.
They show pass in green.
Yeah, but they don't show the results.
No, they don't. They don't.
Yeah, so exactly. I don't know, you know. So yeah, my whole goal was to get 100, if possible. And that's what I was going for. I wasn't going just to pass, man. And I'm not going just for pass. I want to know this stuff like, you know, you ask me a question, I'm ready. You know, I want to be that guy. Kenzo's like, Tony, you know what? If I just want to be that guy. You're like, okay, how do you do this problem? I want to be able, okay, I want to be that sharp, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think because you focus on learning for yourself, not
yeah,
just this journey wasn't just about the FE. This was for you,
yeah,
and for your knowledge.
of course. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Are there any topics that were easier than you expected?
the mechanics of materials was a little, well, I had a couple of questions there and I was able to answer them.
Okay.
That was good.
How was statics?
Statics, I feel fine with statics. I didn't have a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, spending a week and a half on statics was worth
Yeah,
it.
it was, it was worth it for sure.
Right?
Uh-huh. I think the harder ones, like obviously environmental for me has always been a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know where I mean, maybe you'll go over that, but I think it's just so hard to go over when you're in what stage you're in the process. And because there's so many processes. I mean, you got to break it down. And to me, that's always been a problem. Like, where am I in this process and where are you asking? Is
Yeah.
it water treatment plant or are we on you know, where are we? And I haven't been able to point it out. So, um, yeah, that was probably always environmental's been tough for me.
Yeah. I don't know, a lot of civil engineering students don't like environmental. I think like literally 90% of the students we talk to, they go like, I don't like environmental. How should I study for it? And like that's a question we always get.
Yeah, but I think it's almost like like it's just somebody hasn't put it like you have, like you when you do the fluids, or like, okay, are you laminar or turbulent? That where you start off. Like, where do you start off in environmental? You know? Okay, what? Like, where are we going with this? Like, where are we in environmental when they ask you those questions? So that's the hard one.
Yeah.
Like in concrete and steel, like in structures, you know, like where you're going to, where you're going into concrete or you're going into steel. Like you can kind of, it's almost like where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a little different. Um, with with other topics.
Yeah. Yeah, environmental is a tricky one. And also, like you said, there are not a lot of great books out there that kind of guide you to it and just helps you with understanding the concepts. So,
I've spent a small fortune on books. I have a lot of books.
oh, really?
Yeah. I buy a lot of books because I was looking for that. I was looking for you, Kenza.
In books.
Books, yeah. I was like, I probably got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just sitting here, 6. And I got I got probably like 30 books in here.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah. And that's my method. That's how I actually create problems. Like as I said, right now I'm creating problems in structural analysis, and look what we have. This is, this is a structural analysis book. It has all, like the virtual method, deflection, moment shear diagram, deflection diagrams, everything that you need for the FE exam under structural analysis. And
Yeah.
that's actually how I create my courses. Like I don't go I go straight to the source. I go to this engineering books. I mean, engineering is the same everywhere you go. It's not going to change, right? So there's actually like on the reference manual, they reference like where they got the equations from. And some of those books I actually have. I have those books, and that's, because I had them in college. I kept all my books, all my notes, and that's what I used. Because when I was studying for the FE, that's what I used, and I passed. And then, I had this friend who was struggling to pass her FE. She took it like 6 times, and it just because like she didn't have the right material. And that's how I got the idea. You know what? Like if I put all this together, like all these books that I have and these problems, put them together, and put them in a course and guide students, give them exactly what they need to pass, it's going to help so many people. And at the end of the course, I do have like a resources page where I say exactly which books I use. Yeah. So that's, but it just takes longer, right? If you would do that, that's going to take you like so many months. If you take a book and you go, okay, I'm going to do statics, you're going to dive in a book. I mean, to learn the steps, to learn, to go over the examples, to do the problems, you're going to have to cheat yourself, and it's going to take a long time, right?
Yeah, well, what you're doing is you're taking the NSCS guide, and you're going through like 6 or 7 questions of statics and what type of questions. You're doing that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like I said, I was having to do that I was having to compile it for me, and that takes time. It's like, and you did that for us. I mean, like that's why I said there's nobody else doing that.
Yeah.
All the other courses, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
I know for a fact. Some courses don't even have the FE Civil. I was lucky to find that your course is, FE Civil. Do you do other disciplines and everything like that?
So the course, the FE Bytes course that I have, I do actually have a couple students who are taking other disciplines and also mechanical, because those materials are also covered in those disciplines. And we've actually had so many students who pass the FE with the other disciplines. And that's why I have them separate. That's why like I don't have surveying, although you probably had surveying in your morning session. I don't have surveying because it's not in the mechanical or other disciplines.
Right.
Will be covered in the civil afternoon course. And once I'm done with the civil course, I want to dive into the mechanical portion, which is similar to the other disciplines. I want to cover like thermal, and there's electrical engineering, because I took those courses in college, so I should be able to like hopefully teach it. And also I love learning, and just yeah, it's fun.
There's something called like an electrical. I mean, like deviant something or another. That always messed me up.
Yeah.
Conversion factor. Like I told you, like me diving into the other disciplines, just like I could see my mind just like going into panic mode, like, oh my God, like I don't get any of this, But like when I was doing your course, I was like, my mind just like, okay, I've seen this before. It was like different. Like I knew that I was going in the right direction. And like when I was doing other courses, I was just like, where am I going? I was lost.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, after you passed the FE, how did you feel?
Oh, walking on water. Yeah, I was walking on water. I'm still walking on water. Like I said, I was expecting to be like, probably like 10 pounds lighter, you know, not whole. I was expecting to go through like something else, like it was just I was expecting to be, month further down the road, like maybe a couple months from now before I passed, maybe in March or something like that. But no, it's 2020. It's December. I passed, and I actually submitted my paperwork to the professional engineers and licensed surveyors board to get my EIT, and I'm waiting to hear back from them so I can take my PE. When I can take my PE, I'm hoping that I can take my PE sometime in April exam. But it's kind of like right now, it's kind of like, what do I do in between that? Should I start working? I haven't decided yet. And of course, later on we'll discuss like what do you think I should do to prepare for my PE and geotech, because you're the resource.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely help you with that. But so I want to go back to, I was actually going to ask you, what are you going to do in the meantime to take your PE? Are you planning like, to work, to go, or just work on your business?
Well, I mean, so it just depends. So if I can take it in April, I'll start I'll probably take a little bit of breaks to the holidays and get through some things that were like on my to-do list after I passed, which is great that I can do. Like I got some business stuff I need to take care of, you know, taxes and paint the house and you know, stuff like that that I need to get through, and so I'll be able to free up some time and then focus on the PE. But let's say I can't take the April exam, then but I can take the October. So I think I may start working somewhere, and I don't think my budget's gonna allow me to push all the way to October and not work.
Yeah.
I may have to like start growing my own vegetables.
Awesome.
Collect rainwater.
What is it?
And collect rainwater.
Great. Okay. Now, do you have any closing remarks for engineers who are trying to pass the FE exam?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say really focus, take the time to learn the material. All those distractions that are, pushing you away from sitting down and studying, like Kenza, you were saying, like your phone, and just, man, close the doors, shut the phone off, and get yourself in like you say, not to think about studying. You're just doing it. You can set your time where you're always just ready to go, and the material's ready in front of you. You just go, you just do it, and then the more the time that you get in the zone of studying, the better off you'll be. I don't know how many hours I got in, but I got some consistent hours focusing on this test, and it paid off. So, this course is a big part of it, and your help, Kenza, suggested. If you haven't bought the course, buy it. Especially if you haven't passed, buy the course. And if you passed, still buy the course because you're gonna learn more. And I look forward to the next race that I take on the PE. I'm ready. I learn.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for being here. You really shared some amazing tips with us today. And congratulations again on passing your FE, and good luck with your PE. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
So that's it guys for today's video. Let me know in the comments below what is your biggest study tip. So just share that with us. And if you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck with your studying and I will see you soon. À la prochaine. Oh yeah, everybody now.